part of the problem is that, you're like, oh crap, today's Tuesday. You have a live stream on Sunday. You got to be ready for that. Oh crap, it's Friday. You haven't written a word. Now you have to get a whole presentation together. You got to get all the pros. You got to do all the things.
All right, friends, it's part 2. We are picking up the incredibly fast-paced, action-packed, and super fun conversation from last time. And if you missed that episode where we set up why we have the funks, why are we funkified, what is going on, please do check back with that episode. I don't know what number it's going to be or what date it's going to be, but y'all have the internet. You can figure it out. And today we're going to follow up on the conversation because Rich and I have not yet talked about our feelings, and that's very important. And then we're going to go about and try to get some tips and tricks from each other as to what we can do to get out of this. Because as we said in the last episode, we are faced with these obstacles all the time. This isn't just a one-time occurrence. This is a long journey, and it doesn't matter how successful or not successful we happen to be in a given moment. These obstacles still arise. So we're going to need these tools all the time. So let's work on them. So Rich, you're up. Let's talk about what's going on in your creator life and tell us about your funk.
I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much shit. That's exactly it. My business has gotten really busy because I guess it's because of all the content I've been putting out. But there's just it's too much. It's too much. It's too much to get up. I'm paying this guy $200 a week to generate these reels. I've got probably 10 or 12 in the can ready to put up. I just haven't had time to sit down and do all the posting and the descriptions for each one. And each platform has a different, some have links, some don't have links, some have hashtags, some don't have hashtags. And then, and you've also got to keep your finger on the pulse of stuff to talk about. In my business, I'm waiting for the next person to talk about their Tumblr that's coming out or their new collab with whatever. And it's just, I've got to keep my eyes peeled for that stuff. And those are through emails and press releases I see. And then I've got to just run the regular show. And it's just a lot of work. It's just a lot of damn work. My favorite time of the week is Friday afternoon because I know I can wind down and the next day, like right now I've got a lot of stuff to do. It's Tuesday. Tomorrow's the first day of the month and I've got to get my newsletter out. And luckily I worked on it yesterday and today. So it's pretty much ready to go. But my favorite time of the week is Friday afternoon because I know that I've made it to the end of the week. And my saddest time of the week is Sunday night because I had this whole weekend to play and I've been screwing around and I've been doing video and all this other stuff. And tomorrow's 5 more days of hell. It's a bitch. It's absolute bitch. And I'll vent some more. I get up in the morning and I make the mistake of checking my email at home at 7 a.m. And it's the worst because there's always fires to put out and goddamn fire after fire after fire. And before you know it, it's 2:00 and you hadn't even left the house. You still got your pajamas on. You hadn't even had breakfast or lunch. It's ignorant. It's a pain in the ass. And then you guys were saying how it's nice to have a simple setup to just go sit down and record. I don't have that at home. I got to come up here to do it. And it's only 0.3 of a mile, but I still got to come up here. So anyway, I got to change all that. So I'm not really in a funk. Yeah. I'm not sick, thank God. Because if I got sick, who would do all this bullshit? Nobody would.
I know you've talked about the reels and the shorts and you're like, I don't even know if these are working, but are you saying that you feel like you've seen an uptick in revenue and orders?
I think they're working. I get a lot of more organic search results or people finding me through organic rather than pay per click. About 2-3 months ago, I cut down my ad spend. I was spending $1,000 a month ish between Microsoft and Google on pay-per-click. Like they're 40 or 50 cents a click or 80 cents in some cases. I dropped it all to 20. I dropped it all to 20 or 21, something like that. 100,000 products or 70,000 products, whatever I have posted. And I have seen no lack of traffic at all. So something's happening. And I don't know the ins and outs of SEO like that, but people find me out of the blue. I mean, and not just little bitty people. Otis Elevators. I mean, how the heck does those guys find me? Out of all the millions of people, not millions, but thousands of people that have me, how do people like that find me? It's interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, you definitely are putting,
it's working.
Yeah, you're putting yourself out there in a totally different way. Like what you do in terms of your content creation, like you don't have like a field of competitors all doing these really cool live streams and podcasts and putting out these shorts and stuff, right?
Nobody's doing it the way I'm doing it. They're all doing their own thing. Some of them are talking about their own products. Some of them are talking about, mindset and running businesses. Some, a lot of people do different things. And I don't know in my situation, I don't know if it's the podcast that's getting me stuff or the video version of the podcast or the clips from the podcast or the shorts and the reels from the podcast. So I don't know, but that's all I do is a 20 minutes of podcast and repurpose that whole thing. So but it's still a lot of work and a lot to manage. So, and I don't know if that's where it's coming from or not, but right now I'm not going to argue about it, but that's why I got to stay on top of getting that stuff up because before you know it, it's old news. Like I think I had a Martha Stewart dry January one that I didn't even put up till March. So anyway, I mean, it's fine, but it's just.
Is there any reason why you're not getting the guy that's doing the clips actually to put them up, like after you approving them or something like that? What's the
because I want to tweak it. I want to tweak it and do it right, and I don't really trust that yet. And I probably could, but I just don't trust it. And I could easily hand him Radar and say, "Here, do them," and then post it. I just haven't done it. But I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it if you want. I don't know from a SEO standpoint, do hashtags matter? Do tags matter? Does descriptions or titles matter when you're looking at shorts and reels? Or is it?
I don't know. I put it on everything. Just
well, that's what I was thinking.
Never know.
So I was thinking just because I don't know if it but if it doesn't matter, I mean, I look at some people's shorts YouTube shorts specifically, they have nothing as far as descriptions go. On shorts, I like to put a link to the original video, and then on Instagram, I don't put links. TikTok, you don't put links. Facebook, I put links, and I put a whole giant long description because you can. And I do the same thing on YouTube. So YouTube and Facebook get the same description, and Instagram and TikTok don't get the same. They just get the title. But anyway, I just don't know how all of it works. It's just, I mean, it's a thing. I can sit down and do it. I just have to sit down and do it in between whatever, dinner and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. But I think Alex got a good point because that's exactly what I'm thinking is that actually posting this stuff, once you have your QA in order and you've got an SOP and a few other acronyms, I don't see why your particular gifts need to be spent on this time because you need to do the stuff. You need to be putting out your fires and selling all the big merch and doing the big deals. And so this seems like a really prime area for you to start, shoveling off that stuff, especially if it's starting to pay for itself. Yeah. I would just keep reinvesting. Right? Go ahead, Alec.
You can still have the approval process as well, and the stuff that you're putting in like the other hashtags or things like that. You can still do that, but just not be physically the one to actually go and take the video, click upload, add in the description and all that kind of stuff. But just do it like really, a lightweight version for you where you get the video, the description, update that, add in anything you want, ping it straight back, and then let them do the bit. Because actually the uploading bit takes the time more than, checking the details.
Actually, that's not really. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. Uploading to Radar is pretty quick. I just upload a draft to Radar, and then I have to put all the stuff on it. Because Radar, you know how Radar works. You pick 4 or 5 channels, and you dump each version of the description or whatever that you want in there. But you always have to, Radar's stupid. You have to make sure to select post it on the reels and there's like an option to where it doesn't show up in the grid if you don't click this button. And then if you want it to be a draft or a regular post, there's 4 or 5 different things in there that if you don't get them all, you screw up. And it's, Radar's fine for what it is because it's paid for.
But there's the friction then, isn't it? There is a bit of friction involved in that. Whereas if you don't have to think about any of that and it's just a case of here's the video and then you send it straight back with just, something you've just literally typed and let somebody else do that part of it. It is reducing the friction.
Well, it would be easy to do. I could easily say, okay, he sends it to me for approval through Frame. So I could say, okay, it's approved, post it, and he can post it. Mm-hmm. It would be easy. But, sometimes, I don't know. Maybe we can work on that.
Well, so I've been working on this just actually starting over the last sort of week. I'm going to call her my operations manager, because really that's a big part of what she's doing, is just implementing all the plans that I'm trying to have the time to make now. And we spent 2 hours today in a Google meeting going through just the pre-live stream process of how all of the social media needs to get generated that drives the traffic to the live stream that I do every week tomorrow. And we recorded it all. But what I'm going to be doing with that material is, first of all, she has access to the recording. So she's ever like, what did Keely say about the thing? And which set of hashtags am I supposed to use here? She can directly reference that, because when she pulls that up in Firefly's AI, she can search the transcript to find it. Plus, she's got a summarized, an AI generated summary of all the things that we talked about that she can then take and put into into more of a subtask checklist thing in ClickUp, because that's where we're building all of the SOPs. And it's incredibly helpful now. And you can do that with a Loom, and you can spit that into into an AI and get those answers back. And so I think the friction to training somebody after the first initial time, which is always a pain, I think it's a lot lower than it used to be. And it's worth trying out now to see if that really does get you over that hump.
A lot of times I say that too. I say, oh, it's easier just for me to do it than to tell somebody else how to do it. And I need to really get over that and just do it.
Yeah. All of us are like that. Every one of us do that.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, so that's where I'm at. And thank God I'm not sick. So we're good.
Right. Well, we've all got our health at the moment.
Oh, I know.
Now
In
that Alex
any
back.
moment, I mean, I've got allergies and stuff like everybody else does. And any second, you could catch something. So, we all know. We just went through a 2-year of panini, so we know anything can happen anytime.
Yeah.
No guarantees. What's up with you, Keels? Come on, it's not that bad.
No, it's not. And that's why I'm rolling my eyes at myself, because it always feels like there's drama involved, and I really need to get a handle on the perspective. But let's just say that my main challenge continues to be, even though I make progress in each business, I really feel like I didn't fully understand how hard it would be to do 2 businesses remotely well. And being able to have the time to execute on the great plans that I have, and I really understand the way that I can generate leads now for both businesses and all that sort of thing. But I actually have to do some of the work, and I'm still just, like Michelle was saying last week, hamster wheeling. I'm still just, feel like I'm in a churn. But, maybe since last week and then our conversation here, and I'm so interested in, Rich, what you're going through with your social media posting, because as I was just describing my ops manager, I'm also thinking about Discord Coach and how it's really surprising to me how easily I've been generating leads. Like, I am doing the bare minimum of social media posting for Discord Coach. Like, I'm throwing out a few tweets. Rich, because you're always liking my tweets. I really appreciate your support. But it's really not that much. And I'm getting cold leads regularly. People just out of the blue booking 30-minute calls with me. I'm like, is this how you business? This is just bizarre. This is not how I've ever done it with FH umpires. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. But I need to actually have the time to execute on the work for them. At the same time, I just over the past week found a couple of companies, that are full of young male gamers who set up Discord servers. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's the stuff I don't have time for. And really, it's not hard. It's clicking a whole bunch of buttons with experience and understanding how all these things overlap and how the patterns work and stuff like that. But it's really not something that only I can do. The stuff only I can do is to convince somebody that they can build a successful monetized membership community on Discord and help them with the unique strategies that'll really help, their particular coaching area or content creation area, whatever it is. That's the stuff I can do. But yes, many 16-year-old gamers could build the servers that I can build. So why am I not hiring those people to do that work?
So it's kind of like me. I mean, I can generate art for a logo to put on a pen in my sleep, but telling somebody that this is the right product for you and all the expertise kind of stuff that's the kind of stuff you're selling. That's what you really want to sell, not the mechanics of building, clicking buttons and putting a server together.
Yeah. So this is starting to sort of get to the. Oh, go ahead, Dee.
Can't servers be templatized?
They can be, but in order to implement them,
specking PM in me is going crazy here.
Yeah, no, I totally respect that. What I would, when I sat down with a product manager from Discord last week, I said, all right, my number 4 request after my top 3 requests are record voice channels, and record voice channels. My 4th request was, could you please make server templates a file that people can download and implement themselves, instead of me having to be a server administrator and be in their server and click the buttons and do that sort of thing. Because if I can package that as a product, now I'm cooking with gas. Now
That's
I
like
can
a profile you export out of Ecamm. You can export it, but you can't do that now. You can't export a server template and pass it around.
No, it's tied to me as an account person. So I can implement it if I log into somebody's server, but I can't just here, have a zip file. And all you have to do is double click on that when you're in Discord and it'll roll you out the server. And the reply I had from the fantastic person I talked to was, you and about 200,000 other Discord server providers. That, everybody wants that. So yes, it's on our roadmap, and we're, hopefully your sincere desires will be answered soon. So yeah, they do know that. And so until that time, I don't want to be the person who, even with a server template, goes in and clicks the buttons and then does the customization. Somebody else can do that. Yeah. So yeah. And so this sort of gets around now to the next theme of what we can talk about, is that, I don't know how you feel, Rich, about the conversation we just had, but just thinking about ways that I can start actually bringing other people in and handing off pieces of the businesses that I don't need to be doing. Although it's terrifying from a money perspective, it's actually making me feel a lot better. I can feel this load kind of lifting off, thinking, oh, I could be hiring gamers to do some of this work for me, because they can't get clients. Nobody's going to hire them. No 45-year-old with a successful coaching business is going to go hire a 16-year-old gamer to run up their Discord server, but they will hire me. So that's the unique value proposition. And that's something I should be doing, and I could be doing. And that will really help, I think, put me in my zone of genius instead of.
Well, do you know how to find those guys? Do you know how to find those kids? You do? Well, then you've got a resource.
It's on Twitter. People have found me in the same way that, all of a sudden somebody will follow me and I'll be like, oh, they say they're a Discord server person. Great. I go follow them back. I go stalk them for a while, find out who they are, how long they've been doing things. And again, it's all about Twitter. Twitter's just running my life right now. So
cool.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, that's great. And it's about trust. I mean, if you're going to find somebody to do it, like I have Amber to do my bookwork and to manage my office, to manage our traffic. And I mean, she's great. And if I lost her, I'd be upset, because I would be way upset. I think I would just shut it down. Because replacing her is like a skeleton transplant. It would be the worst. It'd be absolutely the worst.
Oh my goodness. I hope you tell her this on a regular basis.
Oh, I do.
Because that was oddly beautiful what you just said.
I often do. But yeah, but you got to find people you trust and that you can trust with your books or whatever you need to do, or with your clients. I mean, if they're going to build a server, you got to make sure they don't put any back doors so they sneak in later and sabotage stuff. I don't know how you can do that with Discord. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff's possible. So, Michelle, I mean, let's go to you now because, you talked about feeling like you were on a hamster wheel last week. Is there anything that you've sort of thought of in the intervening week or anything in our conversation that we've had so far that is sort of triggering any ideas for you? Or can we do that for you right now and talk about how we can defunk that funk that you got funk?
Ooh, y'all don't know the depths of the funk, man. Ooh, 3 weeks without a live stream and my soul is like, what are you doing? So, I kind of have an idea, but I think I need breathing room to backfill some stuff. Part of the problem is that, you're like, oh crap, today's Tuesday. You have a live stream on Sunday. You got to be ready for that. Oh crap, it's Friday. You haven't written a word. Now you have to get a whole presentation together. You got to get all the pros. You got to do all the things and do all the graphics. And it's Sunday at 7 o'clock. Oh crap, it's 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. You still have a lot of work to do. Yeah. We're kicking the can down the street this week.
I understand that. No, I totally understand that feeling. And I have that same feeling every Tuesday before I go live on Wednesday. And probably every second week, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just not going to go live tomorrow. I'm not feeling it. I've got this happening. My head's in this place. But I can make up all the excuses in the world. But this week is different because I just spent 2 hours with somebody going through the process. And because I had to train her in that segment of the stream generation, I had to start my process yesterday. And actually, I started it on Friday. And I was really documenting stuff and I was changing the templates and I was doing all this work. And now it's Tuesday and I feel really good. Like I don't feel that panic. I don't feel that thing. So there was a force function there. And I'm wondering if we need to build you a force function somehow.
So, that's a good question. I do feel a little better about Sunday personally because I had 3 weeks to write something. Actually, no, I wrote it all last weekend trying to get ready for Sunday. And I I bunted, or for a sports reference. I don't know. I don't play sports ball, but I think what would help me would be some preparation and have like maybe 2 weeks in the can or 2 weeks of preparation, like so that it doesn't feel like, oh shit. I have to go live and I got nothing. Right. Just time to prepare some stuff and get some things in the can so that I have, a plan. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like I just pull something out of my butt.
Yeah. If you schedule stuff in your Trello boards with like stages of your preparation and you set yourself little due dates for the smaller pieces of it, would that make it easier for you? Do you respond to that stuff? Because I know I respond to that stuff.
It's funny you say that because I do have those things built into my Trello board, but I guess because I do it so often, it's like I went rogue for the last three shows that I did. I went rogue because I do it so often. It's just like, it's like rote to me. So even though I have like five podcast episodes already planned, written, everything is done. I've got 3 video episodes already written and done, just waiting for me to actually just go live and just do it. I was like, oh no, you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that because it leads into something else that I did. And then I just went rogue and I'm like, well, you have a plan right here. What you doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did that to myself. So what you can do for me is what we do for each other is a good swift kick in the tuchus and say, look, you already have a plan. It's on your board. Just do that. Eyes on the prize, Michelle. Eyes on the prize. So,
Okay.
So
Do that.
Michelle,
Do
is
that
it-
thing that you just said.
okay.
Michelle, is it about actually doing it, or are you feeling friction for just what you're doing at all? I'm curious. Because I know for me, it was a little bit of both back in December. I just happened to get a puppy that gave me a really good excuse, but I wasn't feeling it. And I'm kind of curious what it would be like for you to just, rather than going live with the format that you have, do a recording and see how well they do for a few weeks.
So it's funny you say that because the last 4 videos were recorded videos and I really liked it. It's short. It's to the point. It requires a little bit more work in preparation and all that so that I could, actually do it and then, have to edit it. But I kind of like it because it's very succinct and I can get my message out. Maybe I might record for maybe let's say, for instance, the last video I did, right? I recorded for 15 minutes. From that 15 minutes, I was able to chop it down to about 5 minutes. 5 minutes of succinct video, going in, finding my B-roll, finding all the things that I need to put on there, finding all of the layers and things. That to me was the fun part. And that was the fun part that I was missing, because when you go live, when you turn off the camera, it's done. You don't have to go back and tweak anything. It's done. So I guess that was the piece that was new. And that was the piece that was like, oh, wow, I think I like this. But now now I need to create a whole plan for doing these so that it makes sense, so that I could talk in this current video about what I'm going to do next and know that that's going to be the next video, so that I can leave little Easter eggs to lead to that. So, so I'm rethinking the whole thing. And the stuff that I had before, I was able to do it live, in the moment, but now I have to really put a little bit more thought to what I'm doing. And I don't know, I'm enjoying the creative process of doing recorded videos because I'm not streaming for as long. Mm-hmm. However, the jury's still out on the reach. Yeah, because of course it takes time to, get the views and all the different things or whatever. But people are finishing more of my videos because they're shorter. And, I don't know. I want to do more of that. And so that's kind of been my thing. So everything that I had was like, oh, okay, we're going to do this live or whatever. And I have like a couple of things, but I'm thinking format. So I'm thinking like, say for instance, I did the little quiz video. I did a quiz video and then I did an explainer video for the quiz. I just finished another explainer video for the second quiz that I did. And it's rich. It has a lot of stuff in it, but that can't be a live stream. We'll be going back to 5-hour energy. We ain't got time for that. So, so I'm enjoying the process, but now I really want to, I got to get back to my whiteboard and put all the stuff down and see how I could connect the dots and how I could create. If, let's say, for instance, I want to do a live stream, that I have segments that I could okay, we can run this segment and I got a 5-minute break that I can go drink something because I know it's running and it's engaging and I know what kind of, stuff is happening there. I don't know. I'm just trying different stuff. So there was a video I saw with James Corden. It was one of his last videos he did before he finished his late night show. And he was saying, he was a nobody from England and his show turned into what it was because he tried different stuff. He tried different segments, different things. He saw what worked and what didn't work. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a page out of his book. And so then I created those quizzes and then I created a couple of other things. I have some other things in the pipeline that I'm, kind of like workshopping. I don't know. It'll come to a session near you where I'll, workshop it with you guys, but I don't know. I want to try some different stuff. I've been doing this live streaming thing for 2-3 years. I need to see what else works.
I think that's awesome. It's funny because you're guilting yourself for not going live for 3 weeks, but you are you're maybe taking a little bit more time to get to where you feel like you've got a polished system, but don't overthink it. Just get some shit out there. But you lit up when you started talking about assembling the produced recorded video, and like we can all see that. So you're defunct, girl. You know what direction you're going in right now, and I think it's exciting and it's fun, and we'll support you doing it. All right, Dee, it's your turn. What can we do for you at this moment? I really liked the video that you put out last week. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit. The landscape material. Like, as I told you when I was watching it, I was gripped. I was like, is this going to work? She's using a hot knife to cut. What is this magic? And
I've never seen a heated X-Acto knife. I never knew there was such a thing. It's awesome. I was fired up.
Yeah, that's amazing. So there was a compelling story there. So let's talk about a piece of your funk that we can help with at this moment, because I know there's a lot of funk going on.
A piece of the funk that we can help with. I don't know if you can help, but this is the one I'm that comes top of mind for me right now, is figuring out not the how of moving the operation outside, because that's kind of already set in stone. I will be going outside. It's about what I'm going to do out there. I don't like to use the imposter syndrome term because I don't think it applies to me necessarily. But I do look at some of these videos by people. I'm like, holy crap, I didn't know that about beans. I grow a lot of beans and I didn't know that about beans. That seems like a really important thing to know about growing beans. Crap. How am I going to, be an authority on growing beans when I didn't know that thing? That's the thing I'm struggling with right now, is just, all right, carrots are going to start popping out of the ground. What am I going to tell people about carrots? Because it's all in here, and a lot of it I just do by doing, It's not going to be the end of the world if the carrots don't grow. So I don't study it. It just happens, and it happens over a really long time. So by the time I plant a carrot seed and actually get to harvest the carrots, it's so long that making the video in that one slice of time doesn't make sense. So it's I guess the art of storytelling that I'm having a hard time with right now.
Maybe your segment. I was going to say, maybe you should have a segment just for your beans and for your carrots in whatever story you're telling. And then, that's your Easter egg to eventually the harvest. I don't know. Just a thought.
It could be.
Yeah.
I think that could confuse people. They'd be like, I'm here for cutting fabric. Why are we talking about carrots?
That's true.
It's so specific for some people. And maybe that's a piece of spaghetti that I need to throw at the wall and try.
Have you ever seen the guy called Creative Explained on Instagram? He's got long hair and a beard, and he's really fast. He's in your face. He's going, and take a seed and put it in a paper towel and put it in a humid area. And you never seen that guy?
Yeah.
No.
Dude, he's really good. But
I just saw him today.
I wouldn't say do something like that, but he's really, as far as putting a seed to a plant, I mean, he knows how to make it all fit in.
That's really funny because I actually just put seeds in paper towels before we started today.
Also, I'll put a link to that in our show notes.
The thing about imposter syndrome is, I think people have this idea that they need to know absolutely everything about a subject matter. Otherwise, they've got no right to speak on any aspect of that subject matter. And that's just nonsense. I mean, people watch creators on YouTube because they like the people, they have a connection with the people. If I think about the people that I watch, and I know that they don't know everything that they about what they're talking about necessarily, but I respect their opinions and their experiences and them sharing their journey. But that's kind of it. It's the same as me on my channel. I make mistakes all the time. I don't claim to know everything about everything that I'm talking about, but the people just build a connection with different creators, and I think that what you're doing, and there's also an element to what you're doing which I think that there's going to be a lot of people watching it that's got an element of escapism to it, that they don't have the opportunity to be in such a glorious setting as you are, and to be living that life. And I think there's a lot of people that inside really aspire to do what you're doing, to the whole silver lining concept of it. There's a lot of people who want that, who are stuck in a city somewhere and are watching it from that point of view. And, quite frankly, you could go out and just be digging a hole, and there'd be people who would be interested in just seeing no, but seriously, the nature and that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that you don't need to be thinking about I don't know everything about everything, because you know a hell of a lot, and there's people who are going to be really interested to listen to anything that you have to say and any experience that you have with it as well.
Thank you, Alec.
Yeah. When you started talking about how you were watching somebody else talking about beans and you realized, oh my God, I grow beans and I didn't know that stuff. That was interesting. You're telling a story about what you know and what you're learning and how you're going to apply this to beans, and how magnificent is this that you can still grow beans and nobody dies and you can still sustain yourself on these beans, and yet there's stuff that you can learn and it's interesting and you're growing with it. That's a story. That's a story that we want to hear. So if you were the expert that knew everything, we would be like, you're boring. Like this isn't fun. But the fact that you don't know everything and you're learning how to home place better is the cool part of it. And that's the story for sure.
You could even link to the original video and say, hey, I just learned this. Every single, if just bring it to my channel for a second, every single Ecamm update video that I've done, I've literally watched Ken and Glenn do the demo of it. And then I've gone and an hour later made a video running through all the same things and say, this is the new update, it's just out. And people go and watch Ken and Glenn, but then people come and watch my thing as well. And I've literally just learnt the stuff right there and then. So, there's no shame in, maybe some people think there is, but there's no shame in just figuring something out and then making a video about the thing that you've just learned about, whether it's beans or whatever it is.
Fair.
I love this journey already. I don't know. I'm starting to feel happier and happier every time we're talking around the circle. So let's finish it off. Alec, is there anything we can help with today that can help defunkify things for you? Anything you want to talk about? Bounce off us?
Yeah, my thing last week was just that I'd been a little bit poorly for a week, and so then I was just sort of felt behind. But I'm getting back into things. I've got a few of those time-sensitive tasks finished, and now just getting back into things. I will say a couple of things, though, about stuff that other people have said. The thing about checking email that Rich mentioned, this whole thing of me getting up early and then having this time in the morning, that is the time for me is really precious. And I never check email until 9 o'clock. And I know you probably know all this stuff, but it's kind of that is something that I would find that if I sort of plan my day out the night before when I go to bed, and then when I wake up in the morning, I sort of take stock of it again, and then make some headway into it before I let anybody else disrupt that. And that is the kids waking up, and anything in the family, because they're just all asleep. That's my sort of the whole thing about getting up early. But it's the same with the email as well. I find that and I tend to check email once or maybe twice a day. So that's something from a sort of productivity point of view that I've always found, or I won't say always, when I started doing that, I found that my productivity went up just because of not getting those sort of interruptions. Right. There's another thing, though, that's related to what you said, Keely, about feeling like you've got all of these things going on and it's taking, it's maybe feeling like things are taking longer than you were expecting and things like that. There's a quote that's attributed to a number of people. I think that Bill Gates might have said it originally, but people overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 5 years. And I always kind of hold on to that a little bit because I always fall short of what I plan to do. Like, without question, I'm always falling short of what I had planned to do. But I do find that that thing does hold true, that although I'm falling short of what I've planned to do in my day, my week, my month, my quarter, or whatever, I do somehow find that even with that, I'm still ahead when it comes to my 5-year goals or 3-year goals or things like that. And I kind of always hold on to that as a little bit of comfort whenever I'm falling behind on stuff. I think, well, it'll figure itself out in some way or other as we go through, because that's just the nature of like where you sort of imagine you're going to be. And that's probably really terrible advice, because that's kind of giving myself an out for not doing the goals that I'd set. But on the other hand, it does seem to work. It does seem to happen like that.
I think that's really important, and I'm glad you brought that up. And Rich, I don't know if this was before or after we started hitting record, and you were saying, the terrible advice is everything's going to work out, and this is just maybe the best version of that.
It does sound familiar, doesn't it? It sounds really familiar.
But he's not wrong.
It's not the same as saying like oh, everything will be all right, and that's not what I'm saying, because quite honestly, there is disasters in everybody's life, and there's like low points and high points. So it's not kind of like, oh well, cheer up, it could be worse. I hate that kind of stuff. But specifically about the thing of when you're feeling behind on something, this is that particular thing. I mean, obviously, there's any number of, not to bring it back down again, there's any number of things that could go wrong and do, and like we just have to deal with those things. But specifically on that point of, oh, I feel like I'm behind on something, that thing I find that tends to correct itself in one way or another. And there's also, like, in that time as well, there's all kinds of things that come out that you're just not expecting. I mean, how many things have happened, like, to all of us in, the past, year, 2 years, where things have happened that we weren't expecting, like, for the positive as well as for the negative. There's things happening all the time that are, take it in different directions as well.
Yeah, like when Renee Ritchie says your name in the Marquez Brownlee server, like that.
I know, and you still showed up today.
I know.
Or when there's a worldwide panini, and all of a sudden you have 6 new friends. And you jock every Tuesday.
Yay. Oh goodness, we're just finishing up with the warm fuzzies, aren't we?
We often talk about, I can't catch a break. I can't catch a break. And, the fact is you may have dodged being in a car accident. The store that you just left may have just gotten robbed. So, yeah, we do catch breaks, and we grow beans.
And we find a pod where we can all grow with our friends.
Beans in a pod.
Nothing.
Beans or peas?
Whatever.
Oh, I guess I should have grabbed peas, huh?
I think we can make the leap in our minds. I think it works.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope that it's useful for everybody out there to hear about all of the maybe more negative or the tougher stuff that we're going through. And this conversation is very much a reflection of what we actually do on a day-to-day basis in our mastermind, time that we have set aside every week, and just that we spontaneously do as we show up in the Discord server and jump in a voice channel and just start gabbing with each other. And this is the magic that you can create with like-minded creator business friends. So if you don't have your own pod, find one. We'll help you find one, okay? I don't know, but it's totally worthwhile, and I think it really takes a lot of load off, and 6 brains are better than 1 in this case. And I really appreciate you all. Thanks for joining in and making this such a great chat, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Creators Pod.
Thanks for hopping onto our Creators Pod. If If you enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you didn't like it, tell your friends. We'd love a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can check out our YouTube channel, Creators Pod. The Creators Pod is produced by C22 Media. Alec Johnson, Dina Taylor, Keely Dunn, Michelle Lawrence, Rob Valls, and me, Rich Green. Thanks.
We should just keep whispering so we make sure we can hear Rich.
When he comes back, we just keep whispering. Whisper for the rest of the podcast.